The Diddy trial just dropped a bombshell, and this time, it didn't come from a celebrity or a lawyer, it came straight from one of the accusers known only as Jane. In a gripping, emotionally charged moment in court, Jane testified that she had to research the term cuck to understand what was happening in her relationship with Diddy. Her shocking admission is now dominating headlines and fueling viral debates across TikTok and Twitter. But behind the noise lies a deeper, darker truth. Jane's words point to years of psychological manipulation, sexual coercion, and emotional trauma at the hands of one of the world's most powerful men. As the courtroom sat in stunned silence, the cultural conversation outside exploded. This isn't just another celebrity scandal, this is a turning point in how we talk about fetish, consent, and coercion in powerful relationships. Let's unpack every layer of what Jane said, how the defense responded, and why this could be a defining moment in the Diddy case. 1. The term cuck shocks the court. Jane's testimony brought the courtroom to a halt when she revealed she had looked up the term cuck to understand Diddy's sexual behavior. She explained that he would force her to engage in sex with male escorts while he watched, actions that left her confused, scared, and seeking answers online. Her search led her to understand the dynamic as a cuckold fetish, but she was quick to clarify, this wasn't consensual, and it certainly wasn't pleasurable for her. In fact, it was traumatic. She described how Diddy would allegedly record the encounters, choose the men himself, and threaten her financially and emotionally if she didn't comply. The courtroom gasped as she laid bare the psychological torment masked behind a sexual term often dismissed as harmless kink. Her statement turned the case from one about physical acts to one about control and mental domination. 2. The hotel nights pattern and power imbalance. Jane spoke at length about what she called the hotel nights, planned, recurring episodes where Diddy would arrange everything, location, partners, even the substances involved. She said these events were never spontaneous and always accompanied by threats if she hesitated. He would remind me of the money he gave me, the lifestyle I had, and how quickly it could all disappear, she testified. According to Jane, this wasn't just about sex, it was about breaking her down emotionally. She explained how these nights blurred the line between intimacy and abuse, with her only defense mechanism being emotional detachment. These claims are now central to the prosecution's narrative, that Diddy's actions weren't about desire, but domination. Legal experts argue that repeated patterns of psychological coercion paired with physical intimidation may bolster the trafficking and racketeering charges. 3. Defense strategy, redefining fetish versus force. The defense wasted no time challenging Jane's interpretation of events. Lead attorney Tenny Garagos argued that Jane's use of the word cuck is a distraction and mischaracterization of what was actually consensual, albeit unconventional, adult behavior. Garagos implied that Jane was trying to weaponize a common sexual preference in order to paint Diddy as a monster. He argued that just because something sounds uncomfortable doesn't mean it was illegal. Kink isn't a crime, he stated in court. But critics of the defense point out that the issue isn't the fetish itself, it's whether consent was truly present. Jane insists it wasn't. By focusing on terminology, the defense hopes to muddy the emotional clarity of Jane's testimony. Still, legal analysts warn that if jurors believe Jane was coerced, even subtly, the prosecution's case becomes much stronger. 4. Social media reactions and public debate. As Jane's testimony spread online, it triggered massive waves of reaction. Hashtags like #JusticeForJane and #DiddyTrial trended within hours. TikTok creators dissected her every word, with many expressing shock at her emotional vulnerability and bravery. Some male influencers mocked her use of the term cuck, while others claimed she was exaggerating for fame. But mental health professionals and survivors rallied behind her, praising her for speaking up in such difficult circumstances. Commentators noted how the courtroom has become a battleground for deeper cultural wars over gender, power, and victimhood. Jane's testimony didn't just go viral, it cracked open a long-silenced conversation about how fame and fortune can shield abusive behavior. Her words gave voice to countless victims who've struggled to explain experiences that fall into gray areas of consent and manipulation. 5. Long-term implications for the case and culture. Jane's revelation about researching fetish terminology isn't just salacious courtroom gossip, it may become a turning point in how this entire case is perceived. Prosecutors are likely to highlight it as evidence of emotional and psychological abuse, broadening the scope beyond physical acts. Meanwhile, cultural observers say it's part of a growing trend where survivors are using the courtroom to reclaim their narratives and define their trauma on their own terms. If the jury finds her testimony credible, it could influence not just the verdict, but also the public's understanding of abuse dynamics. And in the bigger picture, it signals a shift in how we evaluate relationships shaped by power imbalance, especially in celebrity culture. Diddy isn't just on trial for alleged crimes, he's at the center of a national reckoning about privilege, silence, and the complexities of consent. Conclusion. Jane's court admission wasn't just a viral soundbite, it was a raw, uncomfortable, and deeply human moment. Her words exposed how language, power, and trauma intersect in disturbing ways. Whether you believe her or not, her voice is reshaping how we understand coercion, celebrity, and justice. And as the Diddy trial continues, the question lingers: if we can't define consent clearly in public, how can we demand it in private? If this breakdown helped you see the case in a new light, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more bold, truth-driven commentary.